The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Am I hearing that Thatcher Demko might be back this week at practice, which means he may play a game this month? What? I thought this guy wasn't coming back till 2027, man.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen. One love to the Don't Doze Art Lab, one love to the Burnaby Gardens, right? Doing its thing for the West Coast bias for its neighbors, and one love to the Locked On Podcast Network for giving us the culture, right? It's your Canucks every day. It's right here. It's right now. And it's also brought to you by Indeed. Okay, looking for a job? Need some money? The holidays coming up? Straight up. It is what it is. Maybe you're looking for a new candidate for that great company of yours. Don't search for it, okay? Maybe you should just match with it on Indeed. More information in the bio below. On today's episode, we'll be talking about Demko. We'll be talking about Quinn Hughes versus Cale Makar. We'll also be joined by Trevor Beggs in a couple of minutes, okay? This guy's a super dad. No power in his household, okay? No internet at the moment. Somewhat of a windstorm / rainstorm early on today. And this guy, again, wants to touch heavily on this whole Quinn Hughes versus Cale Makar thing. He thinks there's some sort of debate still. He still thinks it's a war, Canada versus USA. He just wants to make it loud and clear that Quinn Hughes is the best defenseman in hockey, and I'm looking forward to the spiel. But first, we got to talk about the news, right? I seen this, an hour ago? Via Sakaris and Price, via Darren Dreger, talking about how the Canucks and Demko are planning to, do their thing this week at a team practice, which is a step above what Demko's been doing previous to, again, what's going to be happening this week, and that's working out after the teams hit the ice, taking shots from Dakota Joshua, taking shots from the coaches, right, warming himself back in to the swing of things, and maybe saying the whole warming up part of that is not kind to Demko, okay, one of the hardest workers in the league. In fact, this guy worked so hard, he was called out for it by Jim Rutherford in the summer. Now that that quote from Rutherford makes a lot more sense, considering that they had the inside information about his current health issues. All that being said, it's time, right, to see this project, or the status of this project, I might add, and ultimately get a grip on not only their goalie situation, but the top talent in this organization, right, playing games for a contending team. And look at this comment from Tyler, okay, saying, when is Pettersson back? Again, the Canucks have played 10 games already this season without Demko and Pettersson. It's something else. And we just talked for 3 minutes without Trevor Beggs, but he's with us right now. Beggsy, got a haircut, man, I think. How's it going? Are you with us?
I did get a haircut, man, in between dying and having no power and sickness and all this stuff. But man, oh man, okay, if I can do this, Thatcher Demko, man, you can get over this Popliteus and get back in the lineup for the Vancouver Canucks. Not quite the same thing at all, but this is exciting, man. And it's funny because I was on the Locked On NHL show yesterday and it went live today. And one of the questions asked was, how can the Canucks get back to that Stanley Cup contender status? Because I think that's kind of in question so far this season. There's been some inconsistencies. And I didn't even bring up the Demko thing because of A, how good Lankinen's been, and B, we just didn't really know exactly when Demko's going to be back. So because there was so much ambiguity with this issue, I mean, this is pretty big news if it's true.
I see what you did there, buddy. Again, one of the darkest guys in the program. And we've been through this rodeo before, okay? Not too long ago. Demko is supposed to play games in the regular season before the playoffs started, right? Did that even happen? Did he play in Winnipeg? He barely, you know what I'm saying? We always were told
at the end of the season
he was going to come back sooner, but there he is, just right at the very end, getting some warm-up sets for the Vancouver Canucks. And then he gets hurt in the playoffs, and all playoffs long, we're hearing, he might be out forever, or he might come back in Game 7 against the Oilers or Game 1 against Dallas. And here we are again, seeing good news, great news, supposedly, from Darren Dreger, Again, this guy's about to practice. But Trevor Beggs, are you a little concerned that it's all BS?
A little bit because Darren Dreger has been kind of hit and miss on his reports in the past, right? So obviously one of the goats has
Yep.
been around a long time, but I certainly want to believe it's true, and it kind of lines up with what other insiders were saying about Demko, although they had skepticism as well. Like they were hearing,
Yeah.
4 good days, but obviously at training camp they were saying he had a couple of good days there too. So at the end of the day, he's been progressing in the right direction by the sounds of it.
Mhm.
But in terms of what we've heard from other insiders and maybe what you and I have done in terms of the Poplitea's research is we've heard it before that this is probably an injury he's going to have to learn to play with in some regard, right? This a muscle underneath the kneecap deep in your knee is a hard thing to fix. So
Mhm.
this guy again has had a lot of rest and rehab. Obviously, he's played 2 games, 3 NHL games since January, I should say, 2 in the regular season and 1 in the playoffs. So
Holy,
it's a
why
good
you gotta
amount of
say it?
rest, but
Unreal.
yeah, it's been a long time, right? So, but again, it's this can be from what I've read, can be a really tough injury to recover from, and obviously, as a goalie, making the kind of movements that Thatcher Demko does. I'm really curious to see how he looks in game action, but I don't think you just lose your instincts overnight. So as long as he can find a way to play through the pain, and again, he's playing for a $1 billion organization. I'm not even going to say $1 million because the Canucks' recent franchise value over the 1 billion mark. So
Okay.
he's going to have all the resources available to him to get the job done and play through the pain.
And I think one of his biggest resources, in my opinion, is his mindset, his competitive nature. And I know it's gotten him into trouble before, but his ability to stay stoic and stay driven, it's a testament to how much fun it is to be a Vancouver Canuck right now. Straight up. It means a lot. This team just started winning, and he wants to be a big part of that. And I guess on that note, I got to ask you this. I mean, I feel like we're already there, right? I know you and I had money on Sheilaw's winning the Calder, and it was crazy because we could have changed our family's fortune with that happening. Straight up, real money on the line. It's not going to happen. Okay, I don't know if he can win the AHL. He can't win the AHL goalie of the year. He's already been an AHL goalie. Okay, so we're going to lose this bet. It's going to be Lankinen and Demko, and I'm really interested to see if let's say Demko's coming back in 3 weeks. Let's say he's coming right back at the end of November. Okay, he's playing in Boston. Okay, Elston Gunn. He's one of the fans of the show. He's going to be in Boston November 26th. He wants to see Demko play that game. I wonder if Sheilov gets next to no starts here in the next couple of weeks, just to see what Lankinen is made of completely. Okay, straight up. You got the Oilers coming up. You got the Kings coming up. Even the Ducks tomorrow. I was thinking, okay, maybe that's a Sheilov start because it's against the Ducks and you want to keep everyone warm. But I think it's a Lankinen thing, and maybe they want to test this guy so they can create an ideal roadmap to what they're going to do when they have 2 legitimate goalies in their system. Because I think there's going to be a plan here more so than ever when it comes to their starts. Like I think Rick Tocchet last year, once he saw Casey DeSmith let in 10 goals against the Minnesota Wild, he abandoned the plan. And he was playing Demko all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this time around, I think they're going to stick to the plan up until game 1 of the playoffs where, if Demko's still healthy and he just, he played maybe like 30 starts, he's in line to start every single game in the playoffs. But until then, this is going to be like a strict 50-50 thing, especially if Lankinen continues to play at this pace.
I still think there's a chance that Archer Sheilov sticks around as a 3rd string goalie. I still think there's a chance that the Canucks carry 3 goalies on their roster.
No way, dude. No way.
Look at it this way. Okay, Nikita Tolopilo is firmly the starter in Abbotsford. Yuri Patera right now, your 4th, 5th string goalie when Thatcher Demko returns. The Boston Bruins considered him NHL caliber enough to claim him off of waivers when they didn't have Swayman signed. So I do think that, again, I don't think the Canucks have just given up on Sheilov because he's had a couple bad starts to start the season here. And depending on Demko's health situation, depending what all the doctors and the goalie coach and what everyone's saying around him, there could be some sense of keeping Sheilov with the NHL team. And again, he's waivers exempt. You could be doing right now what you're doing with RC Baines and Eric Brandstrom and be shuttling him up and shuttling him down and saving cap space. And again, I still think there's a possibility. I'm not going to say it's a probability, but a possibility the Canucks keep 3 goaltenders. Again, it's just, you and I aren't doctors here. We're just 2 idiots behind a microphone, man. But
yeah, dude.
Like
who
you
cares
alluded to,
about
Kyle,
Patera? Who gives a beep about Patera, man? Go send him to
I'm not saying it's
Kalamazoo
about
or
Patera.
whatever.
I'm saying it's about protecting Demko's health moving forward. And
But it's
it's
also
partly
about
Sheilov's
getting
development.
starts. Shelov's getting starts this year. Like I guess it's so easy to metaphorically say they'll carry 3 goaltenders when it's like not really the case. Like Shelov's will be out in and out of Abbotsford and Vancouver, but I just think it's not ideal right now to have Shelov's do any sitting at all. Like it's only sitting on a bench. That's bare minimum. Like either the Abbotsford Canucks bench when he's a backup, or he's starting for Abbotsford. Like having him in the press box at all is just it's not ideal, man. This guy needs to play games.
Yeah. It's also why I think that the Canucks should be starting Shelovs against the Ducks tomorrow night. I think the guy needs a rebound game in short order here. The Ducks would be a team to do it against. I mean, they still got some weapons, obviously. This is the NHL after all. But especially if you're going to send him back down, I mean, that's a pretty sour way to send him back down, having the worst save percentage in the NHL, having 2 games where you've given up 6 goals, having 3 losses to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
Give Shelovs a start where he can hopefully get a win, get his confidence back a bit, because again, it's funny, like the fickle nature of the Vancouver Canucks market. And Kyle, I know you and I are guilty of this too. Like some people in the comments saying, bye-bye, Shelovs. And other people saying, you know, Lankinen and Demko, the best tandem in the NHL. Kyle, a month ago, we were saying that Demko and Shelovs had the potential to be the best tandem in the NHL. So now we're 3 starts in the Shelov 2024-25 campaign, and everyone's off the train. But I mean, that's just a testament to how good Lankinen is. But I do hope Shelovs gets, you know, at least a couple more starts here before Demko finally returns to the lineup.
Yeah, me too, because he's the goalie of the future. The Canucks aren't going long-term with Thatcher Demko. Like, the biggest reason why I say that is because I think Demko's going to be so good when he returns that he's going to be at that age, and with his injury history, like, he's going to, and the quote-unquote discount that he's already been playing on based on that contract he signed with Benning way back when, I just feel like he's going to be out of the price range no matter what for the Vancouver Canucks, straight up. So they need Shelovs to develop and do his thing and be that guy. And I have a lot of confidence in him being able to do so because he's a future starter. Like, it's not Kevin Lankinen. Like, Kevin Lankinen is only playing for the Canucks this season. And I already traded him a couple weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Because he's going to have a lot of value to him. But he's pricing himself out of this like less than $1 million market that he shouldn't have even gotten paid this year, that amount. Like this guy was asking for $2 million for a reason, you know, because he's been good. And the underlining numbers were saying that forever. And here he is, you know, being one of the last players signed going into the season and being arguably the Vezina, maybe the Vezina winner is like too much of a stretch, but man, oh man, the MVP, like, is he a Hart Trophy candidate during the first month of the season? They're 5-0-2 with this guy. He's been that damn good. Straight up. Straight up. Fascinating times in between the net for your Vancouver Canucks, man.
Yeah, sure is. And I again, just really curious to see what Thatcher Demko looks like. Curious to see if Darren Drake is going to be right on this one, but whether he's right or wrong, you know, we'll have you covered here on Locked On Canucks. Kyle, let's cut to the other side, because I just looked at the ad thing. I got some ads to read today, buddy. So hang tight for that. Hopefully I don't butcher it. Maybe it's funnier if I butcher it. Who knows, man? I want to talk a bit about Quinn Hughes on the other side, man, because I think the guy's been disrespected once again by the NHL because of a dude that's named after some stiff lettuce. Okay, unbelievable stuff. Okay, man. More about that on the other side after we shout out our friends over at PrizePicks and Indeed. You know the deal, baby. If you're playing daily fantasy sports, the place you got to go is PrizePicks, okay? Because PrizePicks, okay, they got all you got to do is make a couple picks, okay? 2. You can win 100 times your money on PrizePicks. Again, with the little 4 correct picks. You're already butchering it, man. Unbelievable stuff. All you got to do on PrizePicks is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash, okay? PrizePicks, come on. What's going on, right? You got to do it on PrizePicks, okay? Daily fantasy sports. If you sign up today, you get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Kyle, you ever got $50 for free, man?
Actually, one time I was playing Tony Hawk, playing PlayStation when I was like 8 years old, and my grandma came in the room, rest in peace, and she just passed me $50.
Wow.
For no reason. Maybe she was like, nice kickflip or something. I don't know.
Damn, man. I gotta say, the other day, well, maybe about a month ago, I found $10 on the ground, man. It's the first time it's ever happened to me. And then I sold my body for another $40 once. So there you go, man. That's $50 right there. Unbelievable stuff. Okay. So again, on the daily fantasy sports side, go check out PrizePicks, download app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game.
Run that game.
Man, oh man. So if you're like me and you maybe sold your body once or twice, hey, it happens, man. Go get another job, man, and go check out Indeed, okay? And if you need to hire, you need Indeed. They're your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data. And they got a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch that busy work, sit back, relax, scratch your sack, and use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed, they don't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. Okay, one of the things I love about Indeed is that they keep me employed, baby. Okay, if I lose my job, bam, on to the next one with Indeed. Indeed leverages over 140 million qualifications and preferences daily, and their matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Listeners of the show, guess what? You'll get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/locked-on. Just go to Indeed.com/locked-on right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this very podcast. Locked On Canucks. Indeed.com/locked-on. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. I was about to say you're talking about your Locked On Canucks. Hey, speaking of which, if you're watching the video on YouTube, hit the like button. And man, oh man, if you're on the podcast side, the holidays are coming up, and if you're enjoying the episode, right, the listenership is growing there, more returning viewers. Leave us a 5-star review, and I don't know, my girlfriend really like that. Trevor's wife will really like that because, again, Cactus Club, man. My girl likes Cactus Club, and every 5-star review gets us closer to eating Cactus Club once a week. Once a week, okay? Straight up. Trevor, before we move on to this whole Quinn Hughes versus Cale Makar thing and like this nationalism that you can't get over straight up, well, I guess you're Team America. Like, again, Trevor's just not a Cale Makar fan, okay? A bigger Team USA fan based on who's playing on the Canucks. All that being said, before we dive into that, yeah, how pissed do you think Thatcher Demko is right now? Because I feel as if he doesn't want anyone talking about him potentially hitting the ice for practice before he actually does so because of the unusualness of his injury. You know, I feel like it's such a sensitive topic. I know we live in a time where information is available and, fans and media need to know about the status of their players, but this one just seems a little sensitive. And I feel as if there's a bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? He's a bit jaded after finding out what Darren Dreger just said on Sakaris and Price.
Yeah, I think there's a chance of it, right?
Yeah.
And it's not the first time would be angry at media members for something that's reported. I mean, that happened recently when this whole Poplatias thing came to light, right? So I mean, he tried to get out in front of it. Kudos to him. But honestly, I don't think he's too thrilled because, I think it was Kevin Woodley who took a bit of heat from Demko, and apparently Kevin Woodley came out and apologized too for the way it was reported about the whole Poplatias thing and the way it was reported through Kevin Woodley. So, and Kevin Woodley is one of the goats of the game too, right? So that guy is a true pro. But yeah, I'm gonna guess, Kyle, that you're onto something. And I don't think he's too happy right now.
Yeah, because you know how you brought up the fact that this could be not false information, but Darren Dreger could be taking a swing here and he could be missing, and it's just because there's so much mystery around the injury and whatnot, and we actually haven't heard much of anything in regards to Demko, right? There's only just been reports, and now there was like some grainy footage over the weekend regarding like Dakota Joshua taking some shots from him, right? No more muffins from the coaches, like it's coming from an NHL player, and you could kind of see the writing on the wall that things were going in the right direction. But this is like a major step in this story, right? One of the best goalies in hockey, one of the best players on the Canucks, a team that's stacked, is getting in their Vezina nominated goalie back in practice this week. What? I really hope it happens, okay? Straight up, because this would be a surprise. So all that being said, again, the Canucks are stacked. Quinn Hughes playing some of the best hockey of his career, which is saying a lot considering he's played a lot of best hockey, right? But there's Cale Makar doing what? Being the player of the month? Is that what I'm seeing? What are you so mad about, Trevor? Relax. It's Cale Makar, okay?
I'm just saying, man, I think, and maybe it's the NHL in general, right? We just tend to gravitate towards the guys that pop the points, and fair enough. I mean, Cale Makar had what, 15 points in the month of October, maybe even 19 points. He was killing it. So But the thing about Cale Makar, and I just want to hammer this home because I don't feel like anyone else is really talking about this, is that Quinn Hughes is a way better defensive defenseman, okay? And just here, like, I'm just going to bring up, and people might not like this stat, but Cale Makar,
He has
again,
21
ripping it up
points.
so far
He has
this season.
21 points. Before you keep going,
21
just I
points
want
in
you to
12
know, he has
games?
21 points. That's 21 points in 12
Do you see
games.
what else is there, Kyle? Do you see what else is there?
-8.
-8, okay? I mean, Cale Makar, sure, he's piling up the points, but, you know, he's not having the same impact as Quinn Hughes, in my opinion. That's my only point here, because
That's crazy.
you know, Quinn Hughes, again, doesn't get the credit, man. He doesn't get the credit for being as good defensively as he is. And I think a lot of people, even after Quinn Hughes won the Norris last season, think that Cale Makar is still the best defenseman in the NHL. And then it's kind of that like Hughes, Heiskanen, Fox tier. No, I think Quinn Hughes is a better defenseman than Cale Makar. And I'm going to go, call me biased. I don't really give a rat's you know what. But Quinn Hughes is a more complete player.
You can say rat's ass. You can say rat's ass, buddy. Relax.
Okay.
Okay, our audience can take it. Okay? Straight up. Trevor Beggs doesn't give a rat's ass.
Come on.
Cale Makar has 21 points in 12 games. Cale Makar is playing on a team that has injuries at every single position. Like 8 players are injured. And I talked about this and again, I'm going to go on a Cale Makar little rant here. Like, I'm going to show some love for the guy, okay? Because I think he's just an extraordinary talent and one of one, okay? Straight up. So let me just say this before I take Quinn Hughes back, okay? Cale Makar doing the most. I know he's -8 and there's been mistakes and whatnot, but we talked about this with JT Miller, right? And there's a chance that JT Miller is overcompensating for some of the plays he wants to make because he understands there's a lot of missing parts on this team right now. AKA Pettersson ain't doing ish. Okay. Pettersson is invisible offensively. Pius Suter, Teddy Bluger, 3 times the player as Elias Pettersson right now. And I think because of that, you're seeing JT Miller trying to do too much and he's making mistakes and whatnot. And it's kind of similar to Cale Makar maybe having some defensive deficiencies because he's trying to make up for what's missing on his team. Yet at the same time, the guy has 21 points. 21 points. Now, Elson makes up a good point. You know, Cale's got 21 points in 12 games, but only has 10. His team only has 10 points in 12 games, right? His team's not doing as much winning as the quote unquote Vancouver Canucks are doing. I know what you're saying, but I think just poo-pooing on Cale Makar being -8 and maybe making mistakes is, again, underlining like the type of responsibility and the overcompensating that he feels like he has to do. Now, again, Quinn Hughes, I'll let you take it away now. I have been so impressed. This guy's must-see TV. He's so good everywhere right now. And if the Canucks power play was good, and he's responsible for it being bad. Don't get me wrong. Like he's got to hold a lot of that accountability on him, even though Pettersson ain't doing ish right now. If the power play was a little bit better, just a little bit better, Quinn Hughes probably has what, 14 points, 15 points. Like how many points does Quinn Hughes have right now? 11, 10?
Yeah, he's got 9 in 10 games.
So his numbers would be inflated a bit if more offense was around him. All that being said, he's looking like he's programming his game for the playoffs, though. That's what I'm seeing, and I'll take that.
Yeah, 100%. And again, I'm not coming in here saying Cale Makar is a bad defenseman. I'm just saying in this conversation about Cale Makar being the best defenseman in hockey, I just don't think it's true. I think it's Quinn Hughes because Cale Makar, sure, he's got incredible offensive talents. The guy can skate like the wind. He's insane with the puck, but he's not a great defenseman in my opinion. And I know he's trying to overcompensate for his team right now. And the dude can play defense. He's won a cup. But at the end of the day, look right now this season at even strength, Cale Makar has been on the ice for 10 goals for and 11 goals against. Quinn Hughes has been on the ice for 11 goals for and 4 goals against. Quinn Hughes is tilting the ice more for his team when he's on the ice. And in terms of the point thing, God, you nailed it on the head with Cale Makar overcompensating. In terms of Quinn Hughes, I know Elias Pettersson isn't going, but look at the Canucks so far this season, and we've talked about it, right? There's a high floor with this team because of the forward depth that Patrick Allvin has built here, okay? The season starts, and Nils Höglander's playing great. Connor Garland leads the team in even strength ice time. He's been fantastic. Kiefer Sherwood, Teddy Bluger, they have a good run. Now you got Pius Suter stepping up with 4 goals in 6 games, 3 in his last 3, and of course the 2-goal game against San Jose there. Every single night there's someone else going for the Vancouver Canucks. You can trust almost every line out there, so Quinn Hughes doesn't have to overcompensate to the same level that Cale Makar is. That being said, he is still not getting beat defensively despite going up against the best team's players every freaking night, okay? Put some damn respect on Quinn Hughes' name, NHL.
I am. I love Quinn Hughes doing his thing. But I'm not here to just give him the throne all alone, I am totally content with Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes being on the same level, being on the same page, being in the same tier. Because if that's the case, again, the Canucks have a top 3, top 5 NHL player on their roster on the daily. Quinn Hughes is playing like that. Jay Stroh making a good point too, talking about the Colorado goalies, right? How bad is Quinn Hughes' plus minus if Kevin Lankinen is not playing like an MVP candidate? I mean, what if Lankinen's on the Colorado Avalanche? You know what I'm saying, man? It happens. But again, Trevor, all I'm trying to say is, if they're on the same level, I don't know if one has to be better than the other. I don't care about that debate anymore because I just respect Cale Makar so much. And I think he's like this league right now has Connor McDavid and Cale Makar in it, at the same time. And I didn't even know there was a chance for Quinn Hughes to be in that category, but he is definitely in that category. And that I'll take that. That's good enough for me. But, touch on this a bit more. I know we got to go to break, but don't you think that, again, Quinn Hughes learned a lot of lessons in the playoffs, and he's just like, I don't need to win another Norris. I want to win a Conn Smythe. I don't need to put up the points. All that being said, I mean, we talked about the power play not working. Quinn Hughes has hit so many, butt ends at the goalie stick. You know what I'm saying? This guy could have had a couple more goals. He's been firing shots. The points could be inflated more. But, again, I just don't think that Quinn Hughes really cares, man. I think he's just trying to be a dog defensively. That's one of the biggest things he's focusing on because this guy wants to play 30 minutes in the playoffs, and he wants to be efficient. And not to say that he wasn't that last year, but I just think that this team has players on it right now that are gearing up for the playoffs and trying to be that type of player.
Yeah, and Quinn Hughes and the rest of the Canucks have 72 games to go. Look, I think in terms of the defensive side of things, I think Quinn Hughes has always taken it personally in terms of wanting to be the best defensive player out there. This guy mentioned Duncan Keith is comparable in this draft year, right? And when he came into the NHL, he's pretty good defensively, but the last couple seasons, man, oh man, he's just been electric and almost unbeatable in his own end. All right, Kyle, let's wrap up on the other side with the GOATs of the week after we shouted our friends over at Frog in My Throat. No, what do we got? What do we got here? We got a new sponsor, Bilt Rewards and FanDuel. All right, so listen up, renters like me, okay? I'm a renter too, baby. Ever feel like you're stuck in this loop of rent payments, just watching your money vanish into thin air? It's time to turn that rent game around and start earning some serious rewards, and that's where Bilt Rewards comes in. Bilt is breaking ground as a neighborhood rewards program that hooks you up with points on your rent. Every month, pay your rent and watch the Bilt points roll in. Use points to jet off on a dream vacation. Put your points towards a flight or hotel stay with 500 plus airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties. Wow. You can also use your points to book fitness studio classes, redeem them towards a future rent payment, and they're designed to meet your lifestyle, baby. Ooh la la. Pay rent hassle-free through the Bilt Rewards app. Your rent game just got a major upgrade. Bilt points have been consistently ranked the highest value point currency by the Points Guys and Bankrate. Earn points today by paying rent now when you go to joinbilt.com/lockedonnhl. That's joinbilt.com/lockedonnhl. Make sure to use our URL so when you know that we sent you. Joinbilt.com/lockedonnhl to start earning points on your rent payments today. All right. From the new sponsor to the old sponsor, shout out to FanDuel, baby. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, all in one place. Kyle, what was more frustrating, you think, yesterday? Who was more frustrated? Me watching my Seahawks choke in overtime, or you watching your Packers lose to the Detroit Lions at Lambeau?
Damn. I think you guys choking in overtime because the game that we played one of the best teams in football. We also have one of the youngest teams in the league. Trevor, I've been down this boat a lot with you. I have high expectations for the Packers, but I'm also cognitive of the fact that mistakes are going to happen. It's a long season, but for your team, bro, yeah, that's something else.
Yeah, the more I think about it, I think Geno Smith and Jordan Love are very similar quarterbacks.
Whoa.
They pass a lot. The air yards are up there, and they tend to throw some odd interceptions, to put it that way. I know they both, Geno and Love.
Don't be comparing that. Shut up,
I'm just saying, they're the same guy, man. Jordan Smith, Geno Love, what? Whatever you're betting on, if you're betting some props on those guys, make sure you go visit FanDuel.com and join today.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks and talking a lot about your Canucks, man. We already at the 30-minute mark, okay? The Ups, man. The Ups are going to be mad about this, right? When they hired us a couple years ago, they said, hey, keep every show at 30 minutes long. And you know what we said? Not going to happen, okay? Because we love this team. We're addicted, and we're going to keep yapping until we don't want to yap anymore. Okay? Speaking of which, again, we talked about the Vancouver Canucks, and Vancouver's My Life is saying this, okay? It's impossible to own a home in Vancouver. I'm telling you, brother. If you say that, that's going to be the case, man. Keep your head up. It's possible. Straight up. Yo, Trevor, I DJ'd a set at a party at the Vancouver Art Gallery. How did that happen? How did that happen? Because anything is possible, man. Straight up. Straight up. You guys got to do you and believe things can happen, man. Don't be talking down on yourself. Anywho, Goats of the Week, a.k.a. the Players of the Week for your Vancouver Canucks coming up right now, courtesy of Trevor Baggs. And again, the segment, Goats of the Week.
All right. The Monday segment, Goats of the Week, where we list the 5 best Canucks from last week. And I'll start at number 5. I'm going JT Miller. Okay, look, last week wasn't the best week, right? We lose to the Hurricanes, get outplayed, lose to the Devils, get thoroughly outplayed, and then we beat the San Jose Sharks barely. This might be grasping the straws a bit, but I did think there were some things in terms of at least possession, maybe not grade A chances, but puck possession from the JT Miller, Brock Besser, Jake DeBrusk line. And I think JT Miller in general just has a high floor. Unlike Pettersson right now, and again, I know we're maybe overanalyzing it, but I think Elias Pettersson right now, every time he has the puck, he's turning it over. Like it's bad. But JT Miller at least banging bodies, getting pucks to the net. The dude has a pretty high floor, and possession wise, they controlled about 60+% of expected goals last week with JT Miller on the ice. He's my number 5 goat of the week. Number 4, I'm going Connor Garland. The dude's electric.
Wow.
Man. The dude's electric.
You got something against short people or something, man? Come on. This guy should be number 2. The Canucks lost 2 games this week. Connor Garland dropping the midst when they're down 3-0, okay, to the Devils, trying to get the people going. And Connor Garland helps this team beat the San Jose Sharks, man. You got something against small people, man. I always tell you, man, I'm small. So, Trevor, I feel like you're judging me for being small.
I'm definitely not, because you're bigger than me, and Connor Garland and I are the same size. So nothing against small people. No, I thought Connor Garland was just the 4th best Canuck this week, and the reason he's number 4 for me is because I wanted to give some love to number 3 and 2, and that is number 3 Philip Hronek and number 2 Quinn Hughes. And again, it was a tough week, but those guys compared to the rest of the Canucks defense right now are absolutely holding it together. And again, I was on the Locked On NHL show this week, and the defensive numbers for the Canucks are middle of the pack, and there's this perception, according to the Locked On NHL host I was with, that the Canucks defense is good right now. And I was like, it's 2 guys, and then there's a lot of question marks. Excuse me. And a lot of struggles right now. And Quinn Hughes and Philip Hronek together might be the best damn pair in the NHL. They just have not been getting scored on recently. Philip Hronek actually, in terms of goals for and against, a little better than Hughes last week. I think he was on the ice for, I can't remember what goal it was. It was one of the goals in the Sharks game when Hughes wasn't on the ice. But Philip Hronek, I think, just deserves some credit for how solid he's been defensively. I mean, there's a bit of dare I say, sedinery with Hughes and Hronek. Like, Hronek just knows where to be when Hughes has the puck, whether it's in front of him, whether it's beside him, whether it's behind him. I just love that pair right now. And I know Taka does too, because it makes a lot of sense to break them up based on the rest of the struggles of this defense. But when those two are going so damn good, it's hard to break them up. So I got Philip Hronek number 3, Quinn Hughes number 2, and number 1. Some love to the 4th line center, Pius Suter, getting the Canucks a big win against the San Jose Sharks. A couple goals for him. Again, 3 goals this week, led the Canucks. 4 goals in his last 6 games, also leads the Canucks. Again, this is a deep team, and it seems like someone's always going. And Pius Suter, man, he might be Mr. Clutch for the Canucks, man, based on the playoffs and early on this season, what he's done here.
Pending UFA. Teams would love to rent a player like Pius Suter. The Vancouver Canucks would like to do that too. But I get curious, again, during the Rutherford and Alvin era, and just based on what they've done in the past, I'm curious to see if they use this guy in a trade for a defenseman, like a hockey trade, straight up, because he's been good for weeks. His floor is so good, in my opinion, and emphasis on the so good, considering that he's a bottom 6 guy. But you know what you're getting from him. But I feel as if when he's starting to reach his ceiling in spurts and streaks, he's such an effective player. We saw it in the playoffs. He was generating more scoring chances than Elias Pettersson. He's important. And you want to hold on to a guy like this. I also talked about this guy being a good guy for Jake DeBrusk to play with down the road, right? To create some real depth on this team. But again, Trevor, am I onto something, or am I stupid, or am I dumb for considering a guy who's not coming back on the Canucks? Like, he's not. He's pricing himself out. He's going to get paid. $2.5, $3 million. He's not coming back to the Canucks. Like, would you consider trading this guy for a defenseman? Like, is there another 28, 29-year-old defenseman out there that's pretty good? There's like, his floor is mistake free. He's not turning it over like the likes of Forbert and Desharnais and blah, blah, blah. Like, could you see something like this happening? And bring up Aturatu, who has 7 points in 8 games in the AHL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we haven't even talked about Jonathan Lecaramaki. That might be a topic for later this week, too. The guy's tearing it up in Abbotsford. My God, the highlights look sick. Pius Suter, again, that might be another topic for this week, because my initial thought is you're not going to get a lot for Pius Suter on the trade market.
I don't know about that.
I think he's maybe part of a bigger package, but straight up, I don't think you're getting a ton for, unless a team like has injuries at center, long-term injuries. Then they may get desperate and trade for Pius Suter. But I mean, a defenseman's a premium position, especially with the Canucks need, which is not just another bottom pairing guy. I mean, it's a right shot. It's a top 4 right shot defenseman or a top 4 left shot defenseman. I mean, you're not getting that for Pius Suter.
I don't know what you can get from him. Again, I don't think he's elite or nothing. I don't know if you can get a 3rd-round pick or a 2nd-round pick, but could you use an asset you get for him in a bigger trade for a defenseman? I don't know. As ripped, I can't even put that name out there on the screen. So I'm gonna say it wrong, okay? But Pius Suter a 2nd, and Lecaramaki for Zadorov. I know that's a joke, but what if like Pius Suter is like the next Mason Raymond, Keith Ballard, and a 3rd for like a bigger player? When I'm talking about, again, trading Pius Suter, I'm literally talking about like who's 27 or 28 out there who's also like got 1 year left on his deal, who's again pretty good. Like, he's just such an improvement over Desharnais and like Brandstrom, on par with Brandstrom. This team just needs defensemen, bro. It's bad. Like, there's reasons why this team has given up a lot of rush chances, and they're struggling against San Jose. And like, talking about players leaning in and being out of position. I think he's pointing fingers at the forwards, but real talk, we've already played 10 games, and we talked about this in the offseason, and it's happening right in front of us. We just said it earlier too. Kevin Lankinen, the MVP in hockey right now. Dude, the Canucks defense sucks outside of Hughes and Hronek. Like, it absolutely sucks. They're not going anywhere if they don't change things. They can win games in the regular season, but there's going to have to be drastic changes there if you want this team going further than they did last year. Because, again, right now, the Canucks defense sucks.
Yeah, and you started wondering if the Adam Foote magic is worn off, because we were saying, like, oh, give Foote some time with Forbort and Desharnais, and they'll be better. But what happened to Soucy and Myers? I think that's a big question right now for your Vancouver Canucks.
They're playing too much. I think you were right on that. I was gassed.
They're playing too high up the lineup. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I thought Soucy could handle it, but you need to like lean into like the best traits of your player and like get the most out of them, and less is more. And Soucy's still a big part of this team. He's going to be a big part of the team this year, next year. But yeah, just play him less, or at the same time, he's been bad. But the same, like, you know how I brought up how I brought up the question, like, what could Carson Soucy's potential be if he played with somebody who was better than him?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and I'll give one of the last comments here to Kurt Richardson saying Eric Brandstrom, a great ad for the 3rd pair. Now we see our 2nd pair guy. Look, I do think that if you have a 3rd pair of Brandstrom and Myers, you get Soucy and insert awesome right shot defenseman besides Soucy. It's gonna be pretty damn good defense.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you, and it could just be one move that calms everything down. And to end off on Brandstrom, let's just do it, bro. Blessed, bro. How did that happen? Well, somebody drew it back to the whole Podkolzin trade, getting a 4th-round pick or whatever for Podkolzin, whatever it was, and us able to like attach a late-round pick to Pullman. And I know they didn't want Brandstrom, but it all worked out, right? It all worked out, and we are blessed. Anywho, Bagsy Bowen doing our thing. Hey, thanks for allowing us to live out our dreams. I messaged this in the Discord during the San Jose game. Again, I got the DJ and art party at the art gallery. It was I almost swore there. It was beautiful. It was great. It was phenomenal. It was so cool. It was so special. Dude, I gave a lot of credit to the Canucks fans. Okay. And maybe you can't connect those dots, but I'm telling you, it's all correlated. And I just want to use this time to, again, appreciate every single one of you and you and you and you and you and you. Go Canucks go. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the links in the bio. I'm going to update the blog today. I'm going to write about you know what? I'm going to write about Pius Suter. That's what I'm going to do. This guy's a special player. Trevor Beggs, take it away.
There we go, man. Shout out to you, Kyle. I wish I was there to do the helicopter on the dance floor there at the art gallery. Actually, maybe it's a good thing I wasn't there. But shout out to everyone from the everydayers to the first time listeners and everyone in between. We appreciate the hell out of you for tuning into Locked On Canucks. If you like what we're doing, hit that subscribe button and the like button on YouTube. And on the podcast side, go follow us and leave a good old 5-star review. Coming up later this week, we got to talk about Jonathan Lekkerimäki, who is tearing it up in the AHL, along with Aatu Räty. And also, Kyle, you gave me the idea, the inspiration. What could the Canucks get in a trade for Pius Suter? Stay tuned for that. Locked On Canucks, but we got to get out of here. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Ballin. And you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.